Hi! I wanted to talk today about the Akashic Records, which it's so weird because I just learned about those like a couple years ago and I didn't really know what they were or even believe what it was. I had been meditating on where am I going in my life? What am I doing? I just felt very lost. I go to sleep one night and I'm going to just say, you know what, if you guys want to call it a dream, that's fine. It seemed more like a visitation to me than a dream. And what was so funny about it was the lady who came to get me was this sassy, amazing, beautiful black lady with afro hair. And she reminded me, like, this is before Beyonce was Beyonce, but that's who she, like, if I look back on who I think this would remind me of, it would be Beyonce. Okay. Now, I think a part of that also was like one of my things that I always wish that I had was like really big hair and like I guess I feel sassier maybe on the inside than I appear sometimes on the outside. So anyway, so whatever. And so the way this happens, I mean, I knew I was asleep, but I knew that we were going on a journey. I mean, okay. And so she comes to get me and she's like, listen, I'm not your spirit guide. Um, she made it clear she wasn't like my spirit guide. She said she's coming here, she's taking me on a journey is what she was doing. And I was like, okay. When some of this stuff happens, you don't really question it at the time. You just kind of go with it. And we go to the Hall of Records. And I did not, to be fair, at that time, I did not even know what the Hall of Records, I didn't know what the Akashic Records were. So we go up and it looks like a giant, it's the biggest library you've ever been in your whole life. And I remember it reminded me of some of the places, I can't put my finger on it, that I had visited in Europe. I mean, there were these humongous, vaulted ceilings and almost like Sistine Chapel ceiling with the ceiling just looking so beautiful and calming and all this. And this was the weird part. The books, it was all of these books, every kind of book you could possibly think of, lining the floor from ceiling to floor. It wasn't just how massive this library was. What was weird about the library, besides the fact that it was just so splendid and spectacular, was it wasn't just these human figures in there reading. It was like, I remember looking to my left specifically and seeing it was like a ball of energy. And it was in what I noticed throughout this journey was that it was a lot of things that were happening that weren't told to me. It was all either through feeling it or just knowing it, but not me knowing it, it being put in my head, the thought being put in my head. We were going through this library, and I just remember looking around and thinking, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been, but also kind of feeling like I knew what it was. Like, she didn't have to tell me what it was. I knew what it was. So we go, and she takes me to a group. It was basically a council that they were bringing me in, and they were going to talk to me. But I sat at this reading table, and so she was standing here. I'm sitting at this table, and they put this book in front of me. But there's a bunch of energies out in front of me, and I can't really see them that well. I just knew that they were there, and I knew that they were my counsel, if you will. And I knew that they were there to help me. I'll never forget this for as long as I live. The book opened, and it was light, and I saw everything that had ever happened to me in my entire life. The way that people talk about near-death experiences, how they have the life review, that happened. I saw everything, okay? And then they stopped me to where I was at that time in life. And they said, if you keep going, and if you plow through, and if you focus, and if you have hope and optimism. It's like they showed me a little bit of the possibility of what could be. And I was like, me being the control freak, argumentative human that I can be, literally went, guys, wait a minute. And I was able to show them what I thought could happen in my brain. And we all shared this thought, and I, at the time, wanted to take the situation I was in, and of course, what do humans would not want to do? We don't want to change. And I was like, if I don't change, I could do this. And I showed them, and we collectively all saw that. And they then turned the page to the rest of my life. And I remember, I'll never forget, it was like if you have your hair blown back and you're going like, and I remember looking at my life, and the book turned, and light came through, and the book turned, and I went, That's why I have to do what I have to do. And then I remember, it was so funny, my human brain going, hold on to it, hold on, try to remember it. But they were telling me, and my spiritual brain went, you're not going to remember. You can't remember this. You can't know yet. And so I'll never forget that moment because I was watching this and I was so excited about my life. I remember being so excited about my life, but at the same time trying to hold on to, because I knew they told me I was going to forget it. But this was like a motivational talk. It was like them taking me into the locker room and being like, "Listen, it's game time. This is what you need to do." And I'll never forget waking up, and I did. I couldn't remember the details. I remember trying with everything I had to hold on to the details, but I knew, I was like, you're not going to remember these details. You got nothing. But what I did remember is how excited about life I should be. And they also showed me a little bit about how I had really been excited to come into this life and how I was so thankful to come into this life. So it was just a really awesome refresher of, oh my God, I came into this life so thankful to even get the chance to be here. And I planned this life, and I should be so thankful that I get the opportunity to play it all out. And that was my spiritual motivation, and that was it. And so that was my time that I saw my, I guess, life review and got a super awesome glimpse of what was to come. All right, guys, so that's my viewpoint of the Akashic Records and the Spirit Library. If you have questions, let me know. And if you have stories, please share them with me. I love hearing about it. All right, thanks. Hit subscribe, like, share, all that. And I'll see you later.